guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, you're welcome, and to all my returning subscribers, you're welcome again to another video. So in today's video, we'll be making this lovely dress, guys. We are just going to be focusing on the down part of it. So I'll go ahead and fold my fabric into two. This is just for the front part. After arranging my fabric, ensuring everything is aligning, I'll place my tape rule. I'll go ahead now and place my tape rule. So I'm placing it 16 from my measurement tape. I'm placing 16 down. That is what I need, because the shoulder to the half length of the person is 16. So I'm just placing from 16 down to the length, the full length. So now I'll go ahead and take the measurement for the hip, my hip length. So I'm going to be using 10. So I'll mark out 10. This is based on preference. If you are sewing for someone not that too tall, you can use 9. You can as well use 8. If you don't know exactly what to use, while measuring, just capture that part, the hip part, from the half length down to the hip line. So I use 10. Then I'll go ahead to mark out for the knee measurement. For this knee measurement, I'm using 20. So I use 20. And this is my waist, my hip, and the knee measurements as labeled already. Then I'll go ahead and mark out my waist measurements by dividing my waist circumference by 4, then adding 2 inches allowance. Yes, I need 1 inch for the main allowance, then I need ½ inch for sewing allowance. I need ½ inch for the slit at the front. So I calculated everything, making it 2 inches allowance. So I added it to the circumference after dividing it by 4. The same thing I did for the hip measurement, dividing my hip measurement by 4, then adding 2 inches allowance. The same thing I did also for my knee measurement. But if you didn't take your knee measurement, you can just go ahead, after anything you mark out for your hip measurement, just remove 1 inch from it, or 1.5. Then I'm going to determine how wide I want the mermaid to be. So I decide to use 17. So when I open up my dress, my fabric, I'm going to be having 32. So you can go ahead and make it as large as you want. It's based on how big you want the down part to be, how wide you want it to be. So now I don't want the down part to just be flat like that. From the edge, I went up like 0.75 and I curve it down, as you can see. Then I go ahead and cut out my fabric. So this is for the back part, and the back part, after folding up my fabric into 2, the same way I did for the front, I'm going to place the front part on the fabric I folded down. Then this space I'm leaving is for the tail at the back. Like it's not attached tail, so it's cut together tail. So I go ahead to mark out my zipper allowance. Remember, the tail is not going to be starting from the edge, so it's going to start after the knee line, and I've marked out the knee line. So I mark out the tail effect. I have 10 inches. My cloth is folded, so opening it I will have 20, so I'm good to go. So I will connect from my knee line, the one I marked already, down, just as you see me do. Please don't forget to like this video, and please share with your friends that might need this exact video. And please don't forget to comment. If there's any part that you don't understand, comment in the comment box below. I'm always ready to give answer to all your questions, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you. So I'll go ahead and cut out my fabric. So after cutting out my fabric, I'm going to be separating it, leaving just the front parts alone here, because I have the slits at the front. So as you can see, I have my lines all drawn on the fabric, the waist, the hip. So from there, I'm going to mark out 4 inches, then again mark out 0.5, making it 4.5. So I'll mark 4.5 on my waist, on my hip, and on my knee line, then connect the lines together. Remember when I was cutting out initially, I added 0.5 for slit, so that is why I have 4.5 for the slit. So that's why I have 0.5 addition to the 4. So I did the same thing for the down part, just mark 4.5 to down and connect it. So this is me trying to determine where I want the slit to start. So above my knee, I go up 2 inches above my knee. From the down part, I mark out 1.5. From here, I mark out 1, then connecting it together. Then I'm going to connect it straight up to that 2 inches above my knee. So I try to blend the joint to make it equal, like slant. So I'm going to cut out this. So just before I cut it out, so that I will not make mistake of cutting this on both sides, I'm going to open up my fabric. Then as you can see now, I have the pattern that I'm cutting out for the slits on my left side, because that is where I want it to be. So if you want yours on the right side, just know where to cut out your slit. So I'll cut it out. So the same way I'm going to cut this out like this on my lining and turn it. That is all, guys. There's no much work here. So the same way I placed out my lining and cut out the same way, just as I've cut my fabric, because I need my lining to be full length, full lining. So if you want yours full lining, you can make it full lining. If you want it short, you can as well make it short. So this is what I have after I've joined my lining to the front part. You can see the slit area after turning with my lining, then I joined it together. Then this is the slit part. Do you see? So this is how the lining and the fabric was together before I joined that upper part together. So you see the down part that has the slit. So I didn't even do inner sewing for the side, because I'll go ahead and just weave it, do inner weaving for it. So this is me taking the measurements. So this time around, I'm going to divide the measure. This is the hip area. I'm going to divide the hip circumference by 2. Then anything I get, no addition for allowance, nothing, just mark out exact measurements after dividing circumference of my hip by 2. Then the same thing for the waist. After dividing by 2, then I connect it together down to my new measurement, new line. Connect it. Then I will leave the down part flow like that. I will just hold it. I can just hold it up with 1 inch or even ½ inch. But for the knee line, I want the knee line to be a bit tight. So that is all, guys, for this dress. So simple to make. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and please on the notification bell to get notified anytime we post any tutorial. Thank you, guys. See you in my next video. Bye.